What's the first thing you think of when you hear mental disorder?
Sadness, maybe?
Sadness.
Just misunderstanding.
I don't want to say something that make me sound like a bad person. Yeah, I guess crazy. Not in a bad way crazy, but just like I'm not.
Anxiety.
Unhinged.
Autism.
Common. It's more common than people actually think that they are. I mean, I know a ton of people with mental disorders, but most of the time people don't realize how common the situation is.
Growing up, they don't really teach you a whole lot about the minutia of being mentally disabled. You separate yourself from those people without ever putting yourself in those shoes.
People just don't understand that this, one of the key characteristics, at least as far as I know, with mental illness is they can't control it. And those who don't have mental disorders or have not experienced psychological disorders don't understand that this is it's involuntary. They can't just butch up. But yeah, most people I know with these problems, they feel people don't understand, people don't want to understand, and there's no sympathy for them. And I guess that goes back to my saying it's sad.
People don't have a good understanding of people with mental disorders because I just don't think as the general public we're not educated enough on mental disorders to learn how to cope with people with them.
A lot of people don't necessarily think of like depression, anxiety, or all these things when they hear mental disorder. They typically think of something that will cause people to be in like straitjackets or something like that. So I think overall it's just misunderstanding that people may have about it.
So, did you know anything about mental disorders before you were diagnosed with one?
Not really. I kind of knew what depression was, but I was diagnosed at the age of 13 with anxiety and depression. And it took me a bit to realize what was going on.
Yeah, I actually have anxiety.
To me, a mental disorder is basically when your mind just hates you and it's like, F you, basically. Yeah, so.
I do not think people have a good understanding of mental disorders. And I guess if you're specialized in the field, in psychology, psychiatry, that sort of thing, you have a much better explanation, of course, and understanding of it. But I think most everyday people don't have a very good understanding of it at all. They assume that these people are just sort of weak and that they need to somehow just get more mentally tough and they'll get over it. And they don't realize that you've got a variety of factors, and many times you have biological factors that are influencing this.
I have depression and anxiety. I got diagnosed with it. I already had a pretty good understanding of it because I did like a lot of research. But it was definitely different when your doctor says, okay, I'm going to prescribe you this medication because you have anxiety and depression.
People who have mental disorders get treated really bad, and from what I've seen, I've noticed that they get picked on a lot, they get made fun of, even like in TV shows and everything. They just get treated like they're crazy or different, like something's wrong with them. It's already difficult enough. You don't need anybody pointing it out. You need people who care about you.
Ask the one about media. Have you noticed media playing a role?
These characters had mental disorders that were defining characteristics. Having something that separates you in a really easily identifiable way and saying that's what makes you super is kind of a misstep, because then it enables people to ignore how that disability adversely affects your day-to-day life.
Do you know a friend or family member that's been affected by a mental disorder?
I have a cousin, a family member who did have a mental disorder as well. She just wasn't really I would say a normal person because she couldn't communicate with others or anything like that. And then she passed away this year because of the mental illness. So yeah, I have been affected by it. Yeah.